Welcome to the HMO Property Show by investors for investors. Catch us weekly as we discuss all things cash flow positive property investing. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a new landlord, or just curious about property investing, this is the podcast for you. Sponsored by the Co-Living Collective, your trusted partner in creating vibrant and sustainable shared living experiences. Visit us at colivingcollective.com.au to learn more.
Welcome back to the HMO Property Show. I'm your host, Neil Gibb, and today I've got somebody joining me all the way from the United States of America. It's Bob Lechance. Bob, welcome to the podcast.
Well, Neil, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All the way across the pond, as they say. It's a big pond, isn't it, across?
It is. It's kind of funny. It's US is further, but my other company that's in the Philippines probably closer.
Definitely is. Well, I thought today's conversation would be good to have to understand what's happening in the American market, especially with everything that's going on in the world of AI, virtual assistants, and typically what happens in America flows through to Australia in some way, shape, or form eventually. So I thought it'd be interesting to get a little bit of background about who you are, what you've been doing, and then we'll talk about artificial intelligence and if and how that could potentially disrupt the industry that we're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how long have you been in real estate for, Bob?
I've been a while. I started back in 2004, so that pretty much ages me a little bit. Yeah, I started back then, and I first started flipping properties. So buying, rehabbing, reselling. Then I got into a niche of what's called short sales here in America when the bank has too much debt on their books, and we negotiate it down to where it's a buyable property at that time, and then I would resell it. So it was just a little bit different niche, but very simply, property's overdebted. You negotiate with the bank to a lower number, you buy it, and then you resell it for a higher profit. And then you fast forward today, I have a virtual assistant company, like you said, and I also do a couple hundred deals a year on the wholesale kind of strategy.
Cool. So I'm guessing if you're doing 100 flips a year at the minute, then you've got a bit of a team behind you.
We got a little bit of a team. We do.
How big is the team?
So we have right now, we're mostly on the acquisition side. So we have probably about, let me see, 6 there, Dispo. As of this time, 1, we're looking to add another. We have some transaction coordinators, a number of admin, and we have a bunch of virtual assistants.
Cool. And their role is find deals, analyze deals, and then who executes? You've got a team who execute?
Yeah, we have a closing team that executes. A couple closers that actually, so what we do is we do kind of a setter closer model. Once, let's say we're marketing for motivated sellers on, let's say it's direct mail. We have a seller call us or online lead generation. Seller will call us, and then it'll go to our lead manager, and they will set an appointment for our closers. So our closers then will go to the appointment and meet them in person.
Cool. And then are you like doing seller joint ventures, negotiating with the seller to get a good term from them,
Correct.
But then rehabbing while they still own the property?
Yeah, mainly right now, we're kind of in the middle of changing our model. And we talked a little bit before we jumped in the call. As markets change, many times you have to change your model a little bit. And I always say this, where you start in real estate is not going to not where you will end in the end, right? The older you get, you learn a little more. That's why these podcasts are fantastic. This podcast, you get new education on every single podcast. And if you learn one thing, you just put another tool in your tool belt.
And there's so many different strategies we can implement as well. I am interested in learning a little bit more about the one where you're saying you were helping the banks get some of them properties off their balance sheet.
Yep.
So were the banks the actual owners of them properties, or did they just have debt on them?
So this particular strategy, if it's a homeowner owns a house, they stop paying the bank. So now the bank starts foreclosing on that particular individual. So, they're sending letters, they got attorneys involved. And in Connecticut, it takes probably about 8 to 12 months for the whole process to go from once the bank actually looks at a house and serves them. It's kind of like a lawsuit, and the individual doesn't pay the mortgage. They have probably about another 9 to 12 months until that property will vest back to the bank. So within that time, let's use a perfect example. If a homeowner calls you up and says, or calls me up and says, "Hey, Bob, I want to sell my house." I say, "Okay, your property's probably worth 180, but as an investment, I can only buy it for 150. But you owe the bank 200. So that means they're underwater, right? Debt's here, or debt's up here, value's here. We need to buy it here. So that's called a short sale. That's when we need to get involved and actually work with the bank to see if they will actually accept their offer.
Yeah, cool. And are them properties still available now? Does that strategy still work?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's getting more and more, honestly, it's more and more common. Like that's what I only used to do back, back in the day, literally 2005 to probably 2011. Probably did over 1,000 of those deals. So
Wow.
the market started changing. So we started a little buying and holding, started fixing and flipping and things like that.
Yeah, beautiful. Why is it becoming more and more prevalent for these then? I'm thinking back to the GFC where the banks letting too much money out and they had the too high a debt across the portfolio. Is that same thing happen again in the States?
Yeah, the market's starting to drop a little bit. So everything was so overinflated. Now the markets are just, the prices are starting to go down. So when someone bought something at, I don't know, 95% of what the value was here, and
Mm,
then it raised, now it's coming back down. So, and then they stop paying their mortgage before you know it, their debt starts rising. That's typically how that goes.
that's when you sweep in and grab a
Yep.
bargain.
Yeah. Well, that's when you go you hit your head against the phone and when you work with the banks to get a bigger discount. So it's actually it's good because it's a win-win, right? It's a win for the bank, it's a win for the seller, it's a win for us as well.
Yeah, beautiful. So I suppose then, Bob, with the volume that you've done in this space, what are the kind of five tasks that every investor should delegate when they're starting off in a space like this?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend jumping in this space. This is the short sale space. I recommend jumping in the wholesale space for sure because it's a heck of a lot easier. But
Okay.
yeah, to answer your question, you got to understand the process. You got to get the correct phone number for banks. You got to get the right person to connect with. So it starts with a phone number. There's a lot of different processes that needs to happen because every bank is different.
Mhm.
But the simple answer, what I would do if you've never done one, is I would go to ChatGPT and say, I'm in Sydney, Australia. I have a property that's underwater, and I'm looking to do a short sale with a bank. What are the steps I take? So just to get the AI, that's exactly what I would do today. I couldn't do that back in the day. I had to literally do everything manually. So
So
that's what I
how do
would
you
do.
do it? How do you do it manually then? Because obviously the involvement of AI in every industry has just helped remove friction points, made
Mhm.
work more kind of streamlined and easier to access, answers easier to get.
Yep.
So like what were you doing back then and what can you do now with AI?
Yep. So one thing I was taught when I first started, it's you have to document everything that you do. And the reason why you do that is one day you want to replace yourself. So if you want to become a leader one day, or depending on who's listening to this, if you're brand new and you want to start building a team, if you document every single thing you do, now you could pull yourself out, put someone in that seat, and also train them. Training documents, obviously through written documents, and also, you can use Loom or videos, whatever you do. You pull
Mhm.
yourself out of the seat, now you get into a different role. You rinse and repeat. So I did that exact same thing when I was doing short sales. Every time I talked to the bank, I would write everything down. I had to do this manually. I'd write everything
Mhm.
down and then I would document it. Write something down again. Every time I would get higher on the level of talking to somebody up high and negotiating, I would literally write every single thing down and document it, and then I put it into a course about that big.
Cool. And then I'm guessing this is how you started moving into the virtual assistant space as well, because you had all these documented procedures,
Yeah.
and what the only way to kind of scale fast is to get other people to do it, and then using virtual assistants. It's one of the most efficient ways to do this, isn't it? Or cost effective.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some. So to use the short sale industry as an example, definitely virtual assistants can run that for you right now until it gets to a certain point. So you get to a certain point until final negotiations, and then they pass it off to you, and then done. And then the process starts. Hopefully, buy that property and make a little money.
So what's been happening? How big is the virtual assistant company that you've got? How many VAs have you got
We have
in there?
about 600. Yeah, we have about 600 VAs right now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
A bit bigger than I imagined. What are you seeing in terms of the introduction of AI into the spaces? Are people canceling virtual assistants, or are they
Mhm.
ramping up and getting the VAs to use AI? Like what are you seeing out there?
It's pretty interesting. We're actually staying ahead of the curve, so we're teaching our VAs on how to use AI to make them more valuable, right? So
Mm,
I mean, think about the certain jobs that are getting outsourced, right? And there's certain jobs that right now can't be outsourced. There's still a lot of admin work. I'll give you an example. I also have a medical side. So here's a perfect example. When you have different AI, there's a lot of AI wanting to get into the medical world, right? So there's different rules and laws. But if you look at any flow chart or any workflow that you have, there's always gaps. In the real estate industry, same thing. There's always gaps. If you're building, let's say, 6 unit apartments, you're Airbnb-ing it, or you're renting them out, you're doing the strategy that you have individuals on your team or on your podcast actually go through. There are roles that a human needs to be put into because you could use a lot of AI, but
mm,
somebody still has to use that AI. That's what I keep screaming from the mountaintops, but people aren't understanding. I'm like, someone still has to use it. You have to use it. It could be there. It's an incredibly valuable tool for all of us, but you got to use it. Still takes
mm.
time.
Does take time, and I still think we're in the early stages as well.
Mhm.
And interesting to hear that you've got your VAs using it because I mean, we've got everybody in our team using it. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, just an efficient way of starting to work, isn't it?
It makes you think quicker. I mean, you have one idea. If you're thinking about putting out a marketing piece, right? You could literally tap everything to ChatGPT or Claude, whatever you use, and say, all right, I have a real estate. What I love about it too is it saves everything. So it knows if you ask it an investing question, right? You say, hey, I'm looking at I don't know, SpaceX. I'm just making this up. I'm looking at SpaceX, and then all of a sudden you go back to real estate, and then you go back to this and knows exactly what risk profile typically that you have over time. So I've been using it, I think, for almost a year. So it knows it knows me like very, very well. To your point, it is pretty scary, but it's very useful.
Yeah. And can you give us a kind of case study or an example of where the virtual assistants are using it in a
Yeah,
process
absolutely.
that they've got with someone they're working for?
Yep. Yeah, we're teaching them to be one of the things that I see a massive opportunity is we're teaching them on all types of Google AI because Google is actually quietly coming around the corner of being one of the best companies. Google's obviously Google. So, they got Notebook LM, they have VO, so there's video stuff in there, and they're getting better, obviously Gemini, but they're getting better every day. And people don't talk about it, but how many small businesses are on Google and have Google suites, right?
Yeah.
Almost everybody. So, and a lot of us, me included, don't use it to our top advantage of what we should use. There's incredible dashboards that I'm learning every day. So I'm also learning this stuff myself. So then now I could talk better on these podcasts as well. So there's something that
Mm.
comes out every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And virtual assistants have been in the game for a long time now. AI started coming in. Like, where do you see the industry moving to over the next 5 years, if even if it maybe even the next 2 to 3 years, and then the next 5 years over that?
Well, I think there's going to be better evaluation tools. I know Zillow and, there's a lot of these world brands out there. We have local MLSs, but I think we'll be able to get information even quicker now and cheaper. That's what I think. Um, and I think that you'll be able to walk around a house with a video and it's going to give the exact rehab quote. I think that'd be cool. The exact rehab quote. It'll notice stuff that we can't see with the naked eye and it'll break down a scope of work and give it to us. I mean, it's gonna be pretty interesting when that happens. And then with a click of the button, maybe it'll go to a lumber yard or somewhere that you could order all the products and automatically get shipped to the house. I don't know. I mean, I'm dreaming right now, but I can't say it's too far off.
Yeah, I don't think you're dreaming at all there. I
Yeah.
mean, the way I've been using it over the last probably 6 months Yeah, if you can combine Claude, even Claude Cowork now with something like OpenClaw, then there's no reason why. And ChatGPT for floor plans, I've been doing floor plans in ChatGPT, uploading them into Claude.
Yeah.
Claude then give you feedback and create a scope of work from that, and then you could drop it into OpenClaw, and OpenClaw could physically go out there and start ordering materials.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. Yeah. You have companies that go out there and outfit a property. Right now, you don't need that anymore, right? You just literally take a picture, put the room dimensions, take a picture. I was sitting with one of my buddies yesterday, and he's redoing a pool house, and it's just on the studs. And he took a picture and he put it up into Chat GPT, and it laid out literally bunk beds and side beds. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I mean, you don't need designers anymore, right?
Mm.
That's the challenge you run into because this stuff is powerful. They're taking everything all over the internet and making you a product, or and
Mm.
the finished result.
So where do we see real estate in general being then? Because if professionals are going to be replaced through AI software, I
Yeah.
suppose, like engineers, stuff like that, like where do we see real estate going? If do you think people will start losing their jobs because they're being replaced by AI? And will that drive prices down?
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, we're all in real estate as well. But I think there's always going to be opportunity for us investors and or real estate professionals. Do I think there's going to be a realist kind of like Uber? Do you guys have Uber out there?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I think there's going to be an Uber for real estate that shows properties. There's going to be real estate agents going out there. So if I'm a seller, I want to sell my house and save money on the commission. I could hit a button, say, okay, here are all the show times. And then there's going to be buyer's agents out there that still bring their buyers in and come in, but it's all done through like an Uber app.
Mm.
That's what I think.
We've got one called Open Negotiation, which is like kind of like an online platform uh, for like an open, what's the word I'm looking for? Auction, like an open auction, but it's
Yep.
online. So essentially similar to what you're saying, but I know taking it to the next level would be having no human interaction in there at all. It would just be all online virtual walkthroughs, wouldn't it?
It could be 100%.
Scary.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is scary because I mean, I like the human interaction. I enjoy this. I never would have met you, unless we obviously got connected through this. And it's like, it is a little scary. So we have no choice but to keep innovating ourselves and keep educating ourselves on how to use this stuff because you're going to be valuable if you know how to use it because there's so many people that won't want to learn it or they won't understand it. And if you understand it, you'll always be able to make money.
100%. 100%. So let's talk about virtual assistants again then. We've got a
Yep.
few of them that work for us back in Perth. What are the kind of what are the top five industries that your virtual assistants are working in? And then what are the kind of top tasks that the industries have got them doing?
Yep. Well, we got the medical staff and real estate staff. So those are two industries we focus in on. On
Yep.
real estate, you have social media. Obviously, there's content that they create. They help brand because for every real estate company out there, especially if you're brand new and seasoned, you need to be out and about. You need to be all on social platforms because when people look to see if you're a credible company, they want to look online. They want to make sure you're there. So that's first and foremost. Also on marketing and lead generation. As a business owner, you need leads coming in the door. If we don't have leads, we don't have a business, right? You need motivated sellers. So they do a bunch of stuff. They help manage our direct mail. They help manage our online posting, online platform to help drive in leads. And then once it gets to our acquisition team, they work as overflow. So if our acquisition guys don't pick up the phone, we have a virtual assistant that rolls over if the phone call is not missed. Reason why we do that is because if you think about this, if you're looking for, I don't know, if you're looking to buy a pair of tennis shoes, I'm just making this up, right? You go on Google or you go on whatever platform you use, and you say, okay, this is this sporting goods store. If you call them, they don't answer, you're going to go to the next store and then the next store and the next store, right? Same thing with our business. If you don't answer the phone, that seller is going to that next person. So same concept. That's why we do it. And then we also have property management virtual assistants that work on leasing, lease renewals, Airbnb managing the cleaners that come in because obviously whenever there's turnover, That's the biggest challenge. One of the biggest challenges in the Airbnb world is that getting a cleaner in there and actually scheduling when to be in there. Is it clean, etc. And there's a bunch of other tasks for real estate agents. They work for transaction coordinating, uploading properties to the MLS, doing all the paperwork, managing buyers and sellers together. So that's kind of a quick snapshot of the real estate side. And then you got the medical side. We have doctors' offices that work with us, because if you look at the workflow, you have, insurance verifications, prior authorizations in the front end, and then there's a lot of AR backlog, a lot of money that's left out there that they're not collecting, that virtual assistants, call on billing, invoicing, etc., and a bunch of other stuff in the medical world. So long and short, I know that was long-winded.
It's good. So anything that's a kind of repetitive task that can be outsourced to a VA, they can take care of that.
Correct.
And what about hours of work and stuff like that? Because Philippines and America are on different time zones. So how do you manage that with your team?
So the cultures, they work at night. So they work the night shift. For us, East Coast, same coast you're in right now, from 9 to 5. So they work the same hours. And if it's Eastern Standard Time, Pacific Standard Time, or Central Standard Time, they'll work their time zone.
Yeah, cool. So they'll just log in as and when required. Cool.
Exactly.
And what sort of countries have you got clients in with your virtual assistants?
Say that again.
What countries have you got clients in?
So we got Canada, England, US, and I think we have a couple in Australia as well.
Yeah, right. Spread around.
Yeah.
And how do people find Reva Global if they want virtual assistants?
Yeah, absolutely. You could either email me direct. You could go to our website at Reva Global, REVA Global.com, or send me an email, bob@revaglobal.com. We're also on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere.
Beautiful. Bob, I think to wrap this up, I'd like to know what opportunities you're seeing in the American market now, to see if there's similar opportunities in the Australian market. Because like I say, there's generally a ripple effect from America into Australia at some stage. So what strategy are you seeing working the best in America right now? And what do you think, what strategies aren't working as good anymore?
So I think it's a strategy called wholetailing. It's when you negotiate a price down and you buy it. So whether you get private money or hard money, you buy it basically in cash and you close on it, clean it up a little bit, and resell it for a higher amount. That's what I'm seeing. Very, very, like a very good opportunity. Challenge right now, as the market kind of turns a little bit, it's the condition of the property. So for instance, the individuals who fix up properties are making a higher amount of money today because the end buyer coming in doesn't have as much money to fix it up themselves. So that's what I'm seeing on the other end. It was the same way back in, 2000, was it 2000, after the financial crash, 2010, 11, 12, properties were sitting on the market that were not in good shape. Once someone goes in there and fix them up, those things were selling, because the individuals, majority of the people are not handymen. They're not contractors. So they couldn't go in and they also didn't have the money to fix it up. If you have a property that's all fixed up that you purchase, you don't need that capital expense to be able to fix it up. You just have the bank finance it. That's the difference.
True. And lastly there, you mentioned Airbnb. How is Airbnb working in the States nowadays? Is it still an attractive strategy for people to implement?
It is. It is very attractive. Yeah. On many different areas, it's very, very attractive. I know a lot of buddies of mine that do very well.
Yeah. Any particular areas in the States that are working better than others?
Coastlines, usually. Coastlines and mountains. So places where there's skiing, places where there's beaches or lakes. Those are usually the best, where people want to go visit.
Beautiful. Bob, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you today, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Hey, Neil, thanks for having me.
Hopefully catch you again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you. And safe travels.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in the same time next week so you can stay up to date with all cash flow positive property updates.